What's good? How y'all doing this evening? We're back. I know we've been gone for a good little minute, but it's the holidays and it's get crazy around this time of year. So we back with the rivalry week tonight. It's your boy the Dunn. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing pretty good, man. What's going on with you?
Man, not much, man. Just trying to maintain. Just trying to, it's just
So can do. Merry
that's all.
Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat. Thought we had like 5 people in there, and then it went down to 3. I guess I don't know. we talking UGA tonight, you guys.
That's all me.
We're covering the Sugar Bowl tonight. Bulldogs versus Baylor. So come back. We're not talking about Tech. We're not talking about Southern. We're not talking about State. So, but if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other Georgia college sports fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always,
come holla
at your hometown sports podcast. We have a special guest on with us tonight, Scott Byrne. He is a blogger, writer for the Baylor Bears. How you doing tonight, Scott? Tell everybody who you are and what you do, man.
Yeah, hey fellas, good to be with you. Appreciate you inviting me. And around here they try to stay away from me. I can be a little bit crazy sometimes, but no, I appreciate everybody who gives me a follow. Appreciate everybody that is big Baylor fans, and I'm glad that y'all wanted to spend some time with me. I'm glad to spend some time with y'all. But anyway, yeah, I'm a Baylor alum. I've been around Waco forever. My dad and my granddad, and generationally even beyond that, we go back in the Waco area. So I've always loved Baylor, and been with them through the thick and thin. And so it's thick right now. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep that rolling. What I do when I'm not on social media is I have a couple of businesses. I have a business that's a tour business for all things Fixer Upper. If you know the Fixer Upper TV show, Chip and Joanna Gaines, we take people around, show them the houses and the upcoming projects and things like that. People come from all over the world, man. I've had people from China, Russia. I've had people from Scotland. I've had a lot of people from Australia. I don't know why, but lots of Australia, Germany.
There's a lot of Australians in Texas. I think the weather is very the weather is very similar. Texas is very similar to the weather's in Australia.
Yeah, Look it up. Could be. All right, I'll buy that. Now a lot of Canadians, but only in the winter. We don't see them in the summer. They get down here by the droves. So people come from all over the world. It's pretty amazing. We got 35,000 people a week coming to Waco now.
Wow.
Just because of this Fixer Upper show, and Chip and Joanna are going to have their own network that's going to kick off in October. So they're not going to have a show. They're going to have an entire channel.
Wow.
So it's just going to get busier. Waco's really growing. It's exploding. It's a fun place to be. I'm happy to be a part of it, but I've always been happy to be a part of it. I also own one of the homes was on Fixer Upper. So if you ever watch the episodes and you see the Three Little Pigs house, that's the house that I own. Wow. So that's a vacation rental. So you can rent it out on Airbnb. So all you good folks from Georgia, which we get a lot of people from Georgia, if you want to come to Waco, take a great tour. If you want to stay in a great house that Chip and Joe did, I can help you. I can fix you up.
That's what's up.
Yeah, well, hey, if Michigan ever have a home series against you guys in Baylor, I may fly out there and stay in the Airbnb.
All right. So I'd love to have you. Love to be. I've got a gas grill in the back. And I've got it fixed up. It's got a nice little garden area. We'll sit back there and grill out.
And I love me some Texas barbecue, by the way, too. So
yeah. We can make that happen.
I've been to Black's, the barbecue joint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've got it going on in Waco too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You come to Waco, you got to get Tex-Mex, you got to get barbecue, and then you got to go to George's. Three staples right there.
George's.
Yeah, so George's
Okay.
is good old Southern home comfort food, right?
Okay.
So you got your chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes and all that stuff, gravy. But anything you get there is great. And then they've got these goblets that are frozen that they top off with beer. So obviously, when I was in college, that was a fun place to hang out.
I
So
could bet.
so George's is a place when we have opposing teams come into play, the fans swamp George's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. Look, you know, it's Waco do sounds nice. It looks like a nice town just by looking at the games. So what year did you graduate from Baylor?
So I graduated in 1980, fellas. I'm an old guy.
Okay, so you wasn't really around. What year did Mike Singletary graduate? I forgot it.
Oh yeah, he was a year younger than me.
So yeah, you was there when he was there. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a defense back then too. We had Van McElroy, and we had Thomas Brown, and we had Gary Don Johnson, and we had Mike, and I could go on and on.
Georgia was pretty good in 1982.
Oh yeah.
UGA was pretty good in 1980. Pretty good.
You played, if you remember back then, but
I was 2 or 1.5, so I don't remember. But majority of our audience are much younger than me, so a majority of our audience, they weren't born in 1980.
So I appreciate defense because back in my day with Coach Taft, we were a defensive team. You know, we played good defense.
Rules don't allow for that anymore. But all right, we'll run down and we'll get into the show. You had anything else done?
No, that's it. I'm ready to go ahead and get it on.
All right, well, we'll just talk about what happened in the bowls real quick before we get to Georgia. Georgia Southern played in the Cure Bowl last week to Liberty, and they dropped the game 23-16. Couldn't get any offense. Most of the offense was just sputtering out. And Georgia State will be taking on Wyoming. That is coming up next Tuesday, and that's at 4:30, and that's the Arizona Bowl.
That's the Arizona Bowl right there.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a good game. Yeah. Should be.
Yeah.
So.
And in case you've been under a rock, the college football playoffs are this weekend. You have Oklahoma and LSU first at 4:00, and then the 8:00 game will be Clemson and Ohio State. I'm super excited. I can't wait for Saturday. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna be posted up all day watching. You know, I can't wait.
But it sounds like you live in Texas.
I'm loving Texas. What do you mean?
That sounds like
you live in
Texas.
Texas.
Like you're one of us. We love that too.
Oh, I mean, college football is the greatest
we can't
sport.
Wait. Yeah,
college football is the greatest sport on earth.
No
in
doubt.
My opinion. Yeah.
No doubt.
In my opinion. Yeah, like I said, I got the Quick Lane Bowl on in front of me. And what we're here to talk about today, UGA and Baylor will be playing the Sugar Bowl. That's on January 1st. I'm sorry, 8:45. Fox, right? I think it's on Fox, but yeah, 8:45 January.
That ABC one of
yeah.
One of them. Yeah. I think it's gonna be ABC because that's New Year's 6. So
yeah, but previewing the game a little bit. It's funny because people don't know a lot about Baylor, and talking to my son, when my son found out Georgia was playing Baylor, my son was like, "Oh, Georgia's going to beat them." I said, "Why you say that? Who is Baylor?" Just it's not name recognition, but they're playing the Sugar Bowl, so they're playing the Sugar Bowl for a reason. If you look at Baylor's scores from the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the year, they were giving up a ton of points. And then if you look at the last few games, the defense tightened up. What led to that turnaround in the defense?
Well, that's actually a really good question. And I happen to go to the same hairstylist, you can tell how my hair looks, as Phil Snow. who was one of the finalists for the Frank Broyles Assistant Coach of the Year, right? And he is a top-notch coach. I mean, if you know anything about his background and history, and he won Defensive Coach of the Year while he was at Temple with Rule. And so he's phenomenal. His staff is amazing. And he's got a system, though. I mean, you don't just come in and immediately these guys get it. It's pretty complicated. They depend a lot on the safety, and they fly. I mean, they fly around. One thing you'll notice about them is they will gang tackle and they will hit you. Every one of them will hit you. None of them shies away from contact. So they're very physical. So I had a sneaky suspicion before the season began that we were going to have a really good defense, just because of my conversations with Phil, because he usually gets his hair cut before me or right after me. So I'll sit in the chair across from him. We'll just talk a little bit while it's happening. And he's not a guy that's a smoke blower, you know. He just says it the way it is. And he seemed pretty excited about this group and the progress they're making. And year 3 traditionally is when Rule's teams really start doing something, because they start understanding and it becomes instinctive for them instead of reactive, instead of trying to figure out where am I supposed to go. We also had the personnel. You know, we had more maturity. That helps. Guys have gotten bigger. I mean, think about it. When Rule came, he inherited a mess. We only had 45 scholarship athletes when he walked in the door.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, he had to get these kids. He had to develop them. They had to get bigger. They had to get stronger. And so now they have. And so you've got people like James Lynch, you know, on the defensive line, unanimous All-American. You got people like Bravion Roy, who's you're going to see on Sunday mornings at nose tackle playing. You got guys like James Lockhart will probably be playing the next level too. So with that, with the development of the players, with the understanding of Snow's system, the way Rule recruits, he's very focused on getting his type of players for what we want to accomplish. He doesn't really worry about stars because he believes that himself and the staff can develop them. And that's made a big difference. I mean, a huge difference. So the other thing I think that really made a difference was understanding what we had. And so we didn't have the depth on the defensive line. So he switched from a 4 to a 3. And I think that made a huge difference. And then we did have the linebackers who could fly around and fill in. So that made a big difference too. But when you look at it, we had 2 first-team all-conference defensive linemen out of the 3 of them, and 1 honorable mention. And then one of them, of course, was unanimous All-American. So that is pretty salty, and that's in the 3rd year of development right there.
Well, you know, I don't think it's no secret that UGA wants to run the ball, and UGA strength is supposed to be in its offensive line. So, do you think that the game is going to come down to that, a battle of you guys' great defensive line against our much ballyhooed offensive line? Might be a little bit overblown, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be definitely a key matchup, and I think whoever can win that is probably going to win the game. Because let's face it, neither one of us are known as being prolific offensively. Although it'll surprise you, we were second in the Big 12 in average points per game, 5. So they'll surprise you some with that. But I think the concern coming from Georgia's end is losing some of their offensive linemen. Because you're going up against some real playmakers on the Baylor side. And, you know, I don't know what the situation is. I'm sure their coaches, I'm sure they've got great talent and great depth that just step right in. But, you know, that's going to be quite a test. I feel like our secondary will probably do pretty good against Georgia's passing. It's going to be that. It's going to be in the trenches. And that's where we're going to win or lose the game. Right there, it's going to be in the trenches. So that's what I'm probably looking at more than anything.
I 100% agree with that. Thanks and Pat and JF for joining us in the chat. In the chat, I said in the Pat. At the end of the year, everybody saw. Well, I don't know if everybody saw. If they're great Americans, they should have saw the Big 12 championship game. And at the end of the year, we also know that Baylor had some quarterbacks banged up, had some switch around going around. So which quarterback who's healthy and who can we expect to see on
this time of season, is anybody really healthy?
I know, right? Yeah.
Especially. So Bohannon, his ankle should be okay. And so I'm sure he's been getting a lot of reps in practice. I'm sure they're unleashing him. Of course, all they could do really was do the run read with him against Oklahoma because of his ankle. So there was that. But I believe Charlie's going to step in and start. I've heard today that he's been cleared, and I think Charlie will. Charlie, he's experienced. He's a veteran. He's a guy that you can give the keys to the bus to, and he's not going to drive in a ditch. And that's what you want with a team like this.
And the freshman came in and made some plays, but obviously you always want to go with your veteran when you can.
Yeah. Hey, that kid's going to be great, no doubt about it. And he opened some eyes.
You definitely.
That's kind of nerves to steal, right?
Yeah. What, your 65-yard pass, his first pass or something like that? Like,
But I don't think this is going to be his time. I think both Charlie and Bohannon will be ready to go.
Okay. All right, cool.
And look, I think Bohannon, he probably would deserve it if Charlie couldn't, in my opinion, because he's been in the system longer. He really understands it. We just really couldn't see what he could do because many people didn't know he was hurt.
Yeah.
Until after the fact. So,
that was a good job of Baylor being able to keep that in house, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
They're pretty good about that. We don't leak. We don't leak at Baylor.
I checked the line yesterday. I didn't check it today, so I know yesterday UGA was still favored by 6. UGA favored by 6. We all know what happened. Well, I know what happened last year. UGA dropping the game to Texas, another Big 12 opponent of you guys. Is Baylor feeling disrespected, or are they entering the game with the chip on their shoulder? Here in this part of the country, many people think SEC is king, so we tend to think that we're a little stronger sometimes. Is Baylor taking that chip on the shoulder? Is Baylor looking to knock off the SEC? Do they care, or do they just want to play football?
Yeah, well, I think that's more the fans care than the team.
Yeah.
Well, I think all the Big 12 fans feel disrespected.
Yeah.
So and I could even get into it myself and say, okay, if you really want to look at the SEC, you've got 4 teams that are going to be in there every year, and then the rest of them, okay, what?
Yep.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we can also say, look, we're the only conference where you're going to play every team every year, every team. So that means every game's a rivalry. Now, some are more heated than others, but every game's a rivalry. You know each other's tendencies. I think, and I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that I read when Georgia played LSU, even though they've been in the SEC together for how long, this is only the 38th time they've met or something like that. I was blown away by that. I couldn't believe that. We played teams for over 100 years.
Yeah, the West.
So,
the way the SEC works.
It's a whole different kind of animal.
Yeah.
Because you're facing somebody so well. and it's hard. It's hard. I tell you what, in the Big 12, if you overlook somebody, they're going to beat you. Even Kansas. I mean,
yeah. Look at Oklahoma earlier this year.
Yeah. They're absolutely. If you overlook them, they're going to beat you because whoever you're playing knows you so well, and they're coming for you. It's just that way. So as far as the team goes, I think the team just stays focused on their job, what they need to do. I think this is a very disciplined team. One of the things that I enjoy about watching this team is these guys, they are disciplined. They know what their job is, and they don't try to do too much. That's when you get into trouble, That's when, you leave your other teammates out there twisting in the wind when you think you've got to do everything yourself. Yeah. And these guys are really good about sticking to the game plan, doing their job, staying focused. I think they're just really feel privileged. Remember, guys, just 2 years ago, these same players were 1-11. They know where they've come from, so I wouldn't think that they would have a chip on their shoulder. I think they are grateful and they know what it's taken to get where they're at, and they keep that momentum. So I think it's a different mindset. I don't think that they would look at the Georgia team and look at them as disrespectful either. I mean, good night. We play Texas and OU and teams like that. If you want to think that anybody's disrespecting you, play Texas for a year.
And this is the seniors. When I mean seniors, I'm talking about Baylor. This is their last ride. Because if anybody don't remember, they were recruited under Art Briles. When all that scandal stuff hit the fan, so they done been through a lot. Those players been through a lot. So for them to come in this game playing, they not playing for championship. They're not in the playoffs, but the Sugar Bowl, New Year's Six, can't get any bigger than that. And then especially you came from from the lowest of lows, and now you're pretty much about to ride into the sunset, playing in the Sugar Bowl. Like some of these players might not even get drafted. So this is it for some of them. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. And I can promise you, there's not one player that has forgotten that Liberty beat them 2 years ago. That had to be of the low points of the entire season. That had to be the lowest of the low point. And so it makes a big difference. So I think our seniors are very excited to have one more chance. They're very close, very strong family atmosphere, not only with the football team, but all the athletics. All the coaches are very supportive of each other. The players are all very supportive of each other. Baylor's kind of a unique place that way. Of course, it helps when you have your football team and your men's and women's basketball teams ranked number 7 in the country. No other program can claim that. Of course, your volleyball team ended up, I don't know what they end up, 3rd, something like that, in the final pose. You've got your equestrian team was number 9. You've got we're used to championships. Our acrobatic tumbling, they've won 5 straight national championships. So they all kind of feed off each other, and we have the beautiful bank for their nutrition and their meals. They all eat together. And Baylor's a small campus. It's a privately owned liberal arts university, and so it will never be massive or huge. So I think that adds to it. I think there's a real strong family feel at Baylor. So these football players, I think it's more than just hey, this is our last hurrah. I think they view it as this is the last time we're going to be with our family. This is the last time we're going to be able to perform for our family, and we want to go out the best that we can.
Who is Baylor's biggest rival?
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
Okay.
So,
because I would have guessed that you guys love beating Texas a lot, but isn't Baylor and Rice a rivalry?
Used to be.
Okay.
Again, you played each other every year, so you had that going on. But TCU would like to think
I was about to say TCU as well.
And probably for younger kids, it's probably true. And that's fun. That's fun to have a rivalry right down the road. What most people don't realize is TCU actually began in Waco.
Yep.
And in the early 1900s, a mysterious fire broke out and burned their building down. One of my relatives, one of my ancestors may or may not have been involved in that. I'm not saying. But TCU said, we're out. We're not going to rebuild in Waco. And that's when they left to go to Fort Worth. So, there's always been some bad blood between TCU and Baylor. I would say probably our main rival, Iowa State, for whatever reason, just can't stand us. I don't even know what that's about.
Oh, okay.
We really don't even think about it. We respect them as a program. We don't think about them. I guess they just have to hate somebody, so they hate us.
Why not Iowa?
Yeah, why not Iowa? That's what I say. So probably right now it would have to be, in my opinion, Texas. And Texas they're pretty, we create a lot of heartburn for Texas too. We in this decade our record has been far superior, wins-loss, to Texas. We've got more bowl games than Texas. And we beat them up pretty bad this season, and they've got some heartburn going on there. Texas, though, cannot admit when they're average. That's the thing about Texas. That's why everybody just can't stand them.
That's like Cowboys fans too. So.
That's yes, and I'm a Cowboys fan, and I readily admit that. So.
but like I remember, like, back in the day, wasn't Baylor a rival with SMU?
Well, we did have a rivalry with SMU back then, yeah. And we, when I was here, Mike Ford was slinging it around, man. We had some quarterbacks we were going up against. And I remember, I believe it was my junior year. I may have it backwards, but one season we were ahead 21-0. We were about to go in and score again, and we fumbled the ball, and they got it back, and they ended up winning 28-21. And the next season, the same thing happened, except it reversed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. And then when I was right before I left, my last year or so, the Pony Express, they just came in. They were still young, but you could tell they had talent, and you knew they were going to give us some headaches and some trouble. I will tell you, the biggest rival back then, though, was A&M.
Okay.
There's no words to describe an Aggie, and I'm not even going to try, except bless their hearts is the best thing I can say. So,
our audience is a little young. They don't know who the Pony Express is. It'll be Craig James and
Dixon. You talk
Craig
about
James.
Dynamic running back duo in probably in NCAA history right there. They were amazing. So
hey, Dogs fans will have something to say about that. We had Todd Gurley, Sony Michel, and Nick Chubb all on the roster at one time.
That's pretty good.
Now no. Now since I'm glad y'all bringing this up now, because I'm about to throw some dirt.
We want to hear about Tyrone Wheatley.
Ain't nobody finna bring up no Michigan. Like, y'all always, hey.
Why'd you even say that name? I didn't belong in the conversation.
He's a Michigan fan.
I don't even like Tyrone. I like Tyrone Wheatley, but my favorite running back in Michigan was Chris Perry. All right, I was a big Chris Perry fan.
Yeah, I
thought you were gonna say Biaka Patuka.
Yeah.
He was good.
He was good. He was good. But let me get back.
Until you could be named one of the NFL's top 100 players, I don't want to hear it.
What'd you say?
ED.
Referring to? Eric Dickerson. Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was saying, I would say Tom Brady. Tom Brady went to my school. Tom Brady went to Michigan, so
when I was here at Baylor, we had a few guys who were okay. like one guy named Walter Abercrombie. Walter played for the Steelers and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Dennis Gentry, and Dennis played for the Bears. And then we had Frank Pollard. Pollard played for the Steelers. Greg Hawthorne. So those were our running backs. So we had some good running backs too back then. But that Pony Express that was coming up, I don't know. I don't think we've ever had a duo like that in the conference since. But like I said, the younger guys, they wouldn't know.
Nah.
Like SMU was a powerhouse back in the 80s. Like that death penalty that suspended their program for a while. That pretty much
in college football, and Myers didn't even hide it.
Yeah. That program, the death penalty, pretty much it suspended their program. That right there pretty much hurt SMU, and they still trying to recover from that. And that was like 30 years ago. So
yeah, I'm glad they had a good season this year.
They did good this year. They did good.
Yeah,
they've been having some spurts here and there. So
he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Now you talk about rivalry, so here you go. So again, you mentioned some of these teams, and it's more rivalry from them towards us and us towards them.
Got it.
So like this season, SMU, their fans were trying to they wanted to claim that they were the best program in Texas. Okay. I mean, there's no way. There's no way.
Nah.
They had a great season. Dykes is doing a great job with them. I think he's got them on the right trajectory, but now.
So, what would you say is the most storied football program in the state of Texas?
It's easy. If you want to go by record, you're talking to the guy who represents the team right now.
So you say Baylor.
Baylor is the best program in Texas.
And there's no homer in that.
There's no homer in that. I mean, you got to look at the records, overall records. A&M's just a joke. Y'all know in the SEC. You think that they're a joke now? You should have seen them when they're in the Southwest Conference and Big 12. Mm-hmm. They were even a bigger joke.
Yeah, they ran from the Big 12.
We know Aggies are delusional. Just delusional. So, but A&M's not it. Texas is not it. Baylor's it. Now, they don't have the name brand, of course. So, Baylor is never going to get the starred athletes that these programs do, but that's okay. Rule, like I said, he doesn't look at the stars. He likes length, he likes speed, he likes size, and he's going to develop a player that gives him what he wants physically. He likes somebody who has a high ceiling. A lot of these 4 and 5 stars, they have their ceiling's not very high. They've reached a lot of their potential. They look good on paper. You look what we got. Look at our recruiting class, but watch them over the next over their college career. They don't develop much. And that's So I think Rule and his staff does a really good job at identifying players that can develop. So it's awfully hard for a younger player to step in to our program and just immediately start playing.
All right. So here's my thing. You said you have a hashtag Sick'em. All right.
Yeah.
Is that a Baylor thing, or that's something you came up with?
No, that's Baylor.
Whoa. Now, look. All right. I'm not. No. All right.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yes,
be careful.
No.
All
right. Georgia, they're is Sick'em as well.
Yes, I do. I know that.
So
what we'll do is when we get to game week, we switch that to Sick UGA.
But shouldn't it be maul them?
Yeah, because Bears, here's my thing. Bears don't sick anybody. Like it's a bear. They maul. A dog, you tell a dog to sick somebody,
Bears,
but you don't tell
right.
you don't tell
Bears
a bear.
kill people. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have to
yeah.
agree
Bears
with
maul like dogs. They sick somebody.
Bears will kill you. Dogs won't necessarily, but bears will. They'll kill you.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, why? Who came up with
I
sicker
don't
for
know.
Baylor?
I had a professor that actually was one of the back in my day. He was one of the when he was a student. He was one of the yell leaders. And
he was a cheerleader.
He was a cheerleader, so I understand. They call them yell leaders, I think, back then.
I'm trying to sugarcoat
it. So I think he came up. My understanding is that he's the one who came up. He and another guy came up with the hand. Shaking the claw there, and then the sickle bears. And so that was in the 60s. So that had, I'm sure Georgia's been around a lot longer.
I was about to say, it sounds like that guy had been drinking a bunch of those frozen goblets at Georgia.
Yeah, it sounds like he went to a Georgia game and then he said, "Oh, this is a good idea. I could bring this to Baylor and nobody will know."
You're sitting around
the frozen goblets of beer.
Yeah,
he had a lot of those frozen goblets of beer and forgot that bears maul instead of sick. Thanks for Z and DGB for joining us in the chat. All right, I want to throw 2 more freebies out to you, and then we get in predictions for the game.
Everybody in the chat, go ahead and run down y'all predictions.
Yeah. So one, I want to ask you, who's the most famous Baylor football player ever?
Man, that's a good one. Of course, I'm showing some bias here, but I have to say Singletary.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's Singletary too. I agree. I know some people, young people, they go say RG3. But it's Singletary.
Don't get me wrong. What he did for Baylor and the way he put Baylor on the map, yes, RG3 is awesome. And that there will never be a better Heisman acceptance speech than RG3's. Amazing. But Singletary, the best player, he's the best college player I've ever seen, ever. And I've seen thousands. And I'm sad for the younger people who never got to see Singletary play. That guy was unreal, and he would have to be the best that I've ever seen at Baylor. He would have to be, to me, number one. We can talk about maybe others that have impacted the program more, who were great players too, but Singletary. He just had it. He had everything you wanted. He had the leadership qualities. He had the intensity. He had the work ethic. That guy would, if you were on his team and you were in his way, he would run over you to get to the ball. You better get to the ball, because if you don't, he's going to run over you to get to the ball.
Yeah. I want to ask you predictions on the college football semifinals, and then we'll go through the chat and give our predictions for the game. So what do you guys predict for the semifinals this weekend, Saturday? Yes. What you got done? Both of y'all done? What do you got for the semifinals? What do you see in Oklahoma and LSU?
Along as Ohio State lose, I'm good.
That's all you care about, right?
So Clemson should win.
Okay.
And I think LSU is gonna beat Oklahoma, and the national championship has to be LSU and Clemson. I think that'll be good. But I know
Oklahoma a shot.
Look, man.
I mean, I think LSU will win too, but it's just nobody's giving Oklahoma a shot. It's always scared when nobody gives a team a shot, man.
Well, you're gonna really enjoy my prediction then.
What you got?
Now, first of all, I do think the Big 12 has been disrespected. Oklahoma has a much better defense. This is the best defense that Oklahoma has this season that I've seen in quite a few years. It's really good defense. It's way underrated, and they'll get after you. And because of that, and because they can score, and if Hurts if he's on. Mm-hmm. I think Oklahoma can pull it off. I really do. I think it's going to be a really good game. I do think that LSU, if they can establish some run, that's going to help them, and they can. I think that would be the key for them. But I I'm thinking Oklahoma is going to pull this thing off. Baylor, it was one play both games really that made the difference with Oklahoma beating us twice. And seeing them up close, that's an impressive team, man.
If Baylor defender didn't get called for that face mask, I really feel like Baylor would have won that game.
Yeah.
That right there just threw all the momentum out of Baylor and pretty much pointed to Oklahoma's favor.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Oklahoma, and then I'm going to go with Clemson. I think they're a disrespected team for sure. I think they've got all the pieces, and I would go with Clemson to win it all.
I have LSU, and I want Clemson to win because I just don't like Ohio State. But I don't know. I don't know that.
Yeah, I think it's a big game.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be a good game. I hope both games are good games. I don't want to see. I don't want to see LSU blow Oklahoma. I don't want to see a game, so I don't want to see LSU blow Oklahoma out. So, but like I say, I don't think that's going to happen. All right, I'm going to go through the chat real quick, and then we'll give our predictions for the Baylor and the game. JF said this is earlier when we were talking about your Airbnb, the way you were describing it. He was saying that I think it's going to be a little bit out of our price range to stay in your Airbnb. Pat joined us here. I thought Eric would jump in too, Pat. I'm surprised Eric didn't jump in. And Z jumped in. Z said, "Go Dogs." And that Georgia boy, this is for you, Don. He said, "Don't nobody want to hear about the A train when we were talking about Michigan running backs." He brought up A train. And JF said he knows about the Pony Express because he saw a documentary on it not too long ago, a few weeks back. I let one of our followers, JF, he's like 18 or 19. So he said he saw a documentary on it, though.
I think there's a 30 for 30 on it.
There was a 30 for 30. That's probably what he saw. It came out in 2016, 17, I believe. Yeah, I watched it.
So. And Z said he got to love the loyalty from SMU. And JF said, "You brushed off a dog's power like it's nothing." He said he would never want to be locked in a room with a Rottweiler or a pit bull.
That's good.
I feel you, JF, but I don't think you want to be locked in the room with a big grizzly either. So,
well, let's put that Rottweiler in there with the grizzly, see who comes out.
Yeah. Z said he thinks it'll be 12-7 UGA. Oh, 12. Okay, 12-7 UGA winning. Okay, he thinks it'll be low scoring. DGB, I don't know if you retracted the message or I made a mistake and deleted it. I'm sorry.
DGB said he don't know. He said UGA don't really show up for bowl games. I say UGA win 28-17. Yeah. He's saying he don't know.
Okay.
And that's all the predictions for that game.
Well, so, JF said he doesn't have an exact score, but he thinks Baylor can win. And Z said he thinks OU can win as well. And Z also said LSU matches up well in the secondary with OU skill players. LSU struggles with running quarterbacks, but no way LSU is stopping OU offense. No way OU is stopping LSU's offense.
Yeah, I don't think so because Georgia had the third best defense in the country, and you've seen what they did. You've seen what they did to UGA.
Didn't slow them down at all. This Baylor, I don't know which Georgia team is going to show up. So I don't know which Georgia team is going to show up. I wouldn't be surprised to have a 28-21 game in this Baylor and UGA. I just don't know who's going to have 28 and who's going to have 21. So I think it'll be a touchdown game, but I'm just not sure who's going to win. But I think it'll be a touchdown game. What you think, Don?
Oh, man. This game right here, I just don't know what's going to happen.
I know, right?
They brought up a good point about Georgia not performing well in bowl games, which is true. Mm-hmm. Can't hide from that. That's history. I don't know. I'm thinking 24 UGA Baylor 16 or something like that.
All right, so everybody thinks it's gonna be a close game. So at least everybody thinks it's gonna be a touchdown, some type of touchdown game with 11-point spread was the biggest prediction I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, you watch this. Georgia is going to come out. They're tired of hearing that they don't get out for the bowl games. They're going to come out and they're going to hit. You watch. It's going to be a game. I think it's going to go into overtime. I think Baylor's going to pull it out in overtime, but I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be low scoring. And I think that Georgia's going to be every hit we give them, I think they're going to be giving it back to us.
Yeah. So everybody thinks that we're going to have a game and a touchdown game. So everybody is thinking that, it's going to be a good game. Nobody's thinking that Georgia's just going to run away with it or Baylor's going to run away with it. So that's exactly what I think, too. I think it's going to be very interesting. And like I said, I can't wait. All right, Don, before we let him wrap up, like what we got coming up, Don?
Be honest with you right now, I don't know. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Well, let's do this. Let's do a combo, maybe Sunday combo. Falcons wrap up, and we talk about the Hawks a little bit too, because John Collins will be back.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be the Falcons' last game anyway.
Yeah,
but we don't know because after Sunday is Black Monday. A lot of coaches gonna get fired.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we don't know. Whichever.
I'm hoping one does. I'm praying one gets fired. I don't know about y'all, but I'm praying for one.
I'm not praying for Dan Quinn to get fired, but I'm just saying that in order for us to advance, and to better our team, we have to get a new voice in the locker room. And that's just how it is. I know a lot of people saying, well, Dan Quinn, he doing better, but like you can't make the postseason, going, 1-7 the first half of the season, and then all of a sudden you want to turn on the lights, and when you're gonna be on the outside looking in every season. You're gonna either go up 7-9 or 8-8 or 9-7. And those records right there, you can miss the playoffs. You can even miss the playoffs with a 9-7 record. So,
yeah.
But anyway, that's we don't know yet, you guys. Just stay tuned. But Scott, appreciate you coming on the show. Go ahead and plug your information one last time for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime, man. If you'd like to have me on, I'd be happy to talk Baylor anytime you want. Come to Waco, go on Brazos Tours, www.brazos.com. And if you want to stay in the Airbnb, hey, you never know. I might be able to make you a deal. So that's the Three Little Pigs house on
now,
Airbnb.
Scott, I'm scared there's somebody going to type a R in there when they're trying to put up that website, and we know it's going to come in there. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
You guys do not put an R in there because that'll lead you to a different site. I think y'all already know that one.
What you talking about?
Brazzers. You don't know what Brazzers is?
We're talking Brazos. The Brazos River is what it's
when you get a chance, just Google Brazzers. Then you'll see what Brazzers is. Just do it when you get not around kids. I'll say that. Don't pull it up around kids.
All right. Okay.
I'm sorry. All right, go ahead, Scott. Give them your handle again and let them know your blog site.
Give me a follow. Baron Tex. BEARNTEX, Twitter. Do a lot of fun things on there. So,
all right, that's cool.
And then Our Daily Bears, you can go on the blog site, ourdailybears.com, and we give a lot of good content on there.
Okay. Our Day with Bears. I thought you said Our Date with Bears first.
Our Daily Bears.
Our Daily Bears.
Our Daily Bread. So it's SB Nation blog site. It's the Baylor side of it, ourdailybears.com.
All right, cool.
Well, thank you for coming on. And everybody in the chat that joined us tonight, thank y'all for being a part of the show. And everybody who's gonna be listening to this to a later date, thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, just hit us up in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other Georgia college sports fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always,
come holla
at your hometown sports podcast, guys. We know this is not going to be our last rivalry week show. Because we running out of games to talk about, college games to talk about. But what we plan on doing is whoever's going to play in the national championship game, we're going to try to bring like a person on for each team, and they can come on the show and they can talk and preview the game with them. And, I think that'd be a good, way to have a send off on rivalry week for this season. And, we'll be back in, the fall. So we'll do one more rivalry week show, and I think we'll call it a season. What you think?
That sound good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just I just got that idea in my mind this earlier today. So
yeah, a national championship preview and a wrap up show. That's good.
Yep, that'll be good. So thank y'all. We'll see y'all later on. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Be safe.
All right. Thanks again, Scott.
Tell them boys play time's up. Tell them put the house on me. They can put the house on me. Tell them put the house on me. Tell them boys play time's up. Tell them put the house on me. They can put the house on me. Tell them put the house on me. Tell them boys play time's up. Tell them put the house on me. They can put the house on me.